When you hear the name Robert Greene and the 33 Strategies of War, you probably think of generals and epic battles, right? But here's the thing. Its core ideas are actually super powerful tools for navigating the conflicts you and I face every single day. So in this explainer, we're going to break down these timeless strategies and show you how to use them to win in your own life.
So, let's start with this classic quote from the military thinker Karl von Clausewitz. He basically said that war is what happens when talking fails. It's a tool to get what you want when politics just isn't cutting it anymore. But what if we flip that whole idea on its head?
I mean, really think about it. Your career, your relationships, even just trying to achieve your personal goals, they're all filled with conflict. Not tanks and trenches, of course, but rivals, obstacles, and constant negotiations. The very same strategic thinking that wins wars can absolutely help us win these daily battles.
Okay, so the first big shift in your mindset has to be this. You have to accept that life is a kind of battlefield. Conflict isn't some rare thing that pops up now and then. It's a constant. Ignoring that is like walking onto a chessboard and refusing to play. You're just going to get pushed around.
Every single day, you're going to run into people who are more clever, more ruthless, and frankly, more aggressive than you are. And on top of that, you have to manage your own aggressive side. So here's the bottom line. You have to learn to be a strategist, not just someone getting caught up in the chaos.
So where does real strategy even begin? Well, it's not with the person across the table from you. It's with the one inside your own head. The most important battle you will ever fight is the one against your own emotions, your fear, your panic, your impatience. If you lose this battle, you've already lost the war before it's even started. There's this incredible story about a tea master who accidentally bumps into a samurai and insults him. The samurai, furious, challenges him to a duel to the death. Now, this tea master knows absolutely nothing about fighting with a sword. He's terrified. He is 100% certain he's about to die.
So, in total desperation, he goes to a fencing master for advice. And the master tells him, "Okay, I'll teach you the art of dying." He tells the tea master to forget about fighting. Instead, he says, just perform your tea ceremony, but do it in your mind. Focus with absolute, perfect concentration on every single tiny step. Then, when the time comes, raise your sword with that exact same calm, focused spirit.
And what happens is just amazing. On the day of the duel, the tea master does exactly that. His mind is completely calm, totally centered. The samurai looks at him, expecting to see a man trembling with fear, but instead, he sees this incredible presence of mind. He thinks he must be facing a true sword master. So the samurai just bows, apologizes, and walks away.
You know, it's kind of like that old Aesop's fable about the fox who was terrified of the lion at first, but after seeing him a few times, he got used to him. It's the same for us. The more you put yourself in difficult situations, the more you face conflict head-on, the more battle-tested you become. Your mind gets stronger, and that old anxiety starts to fade away.
All right, so once you've gotten a handle on your own emotions, it's time to turn your focus outward. Winning isn't about being the biggest or the strongest. It's about having superior intelligence. You have to understand your opponent's psychology. What are their weaknesses? What really drives them?
Now, this is a fantastic analogy. Most people, when they face a rival, they focus on their punch, their most obvious strength, their big, scary army. But a true strategist, like the Roman general Scipio Africanus, ignores the punch. When he had to face the legendary Hannibal, he didn't attack his powerful army head-on. No way! Instead, he went after its legs, its funding, its supply lines, and the political support back home.
Because it doesn't matter how strong someone's punch is if they can't even stand up, right? All power, no matter what kind, relies on a foundation of support. Your job is to figure out what those pillars are for your rival. Is it their money, a key person on their team, their public image, and then start chipping away at them. So how do you find these weak spots? You become a student of human nature. People are constantly giving off signals, a little slip of the tongue, a nervous twitch, a look in their eye that just doesn't match their words. Think about the biblical story of Jonathan testing his father, King Saul. He didn't just ask, "Hey, Dad, are you going to kill my friend David?" No, he set up a situation where he could just watch Saul's reaction, and the king's uncontrollable rage told him everything he needed to know, way more than any lie could have.
Okay, so you've got your emotions in check. You understand your opponent. The final piece of the puzzle is how you actually make your move. And the key here is to be unconventional. You want to use creativity, surprise, and psychology to get what you want with the least amount of effort.
The ancient strategist Sun Tzu talked about something called the death ground. It's basically when an army is backed up against a river or a cliff, somewhere with no escape route.
When soldiers know there is absolutely no possibility of retreat, they suddenly fight with this desperate, ferocious energy they never knew they had.
And Hernan Cortés understood this perfectly. When he landed in Mexico with his men, they were nervous. They were thinking about going back to the safety of Cuba. So what did he do? He sank his own ships. He literally burned the boats. All of a sudden, there was no turning back. The only way home was forward, right through the Aztec Empire. You can use that same sense of urgency for your own goals. Cut off your escape routes.
You know, an effective strategy isn't always this massive, overwhelming force. Sometimes it's more like a stiletto. It's not about brute strength. It's about a sharp, precise, focused bit of pressure on one single vital point. Think about a startup trying to compete with a huge corporation. They don't attack on all fronts. They find one specific, unmet customer need. That's the vital point, and they pour all their resources right there, cleanly carving out their own space in the market.
Now check out this story about Mae West. When she gets to Hollywood, the studio hands her this awful script. They expect her to just be grateful and play along, because at 39 she was considered old and didn't have much leverage. But she does something that seems totally insane. She just refuses to act.
Mae West was willing to walk away from a huge paycheck and her entire Hollywood dream over a few lines of dialogue. The studio bosses were completely baffled. They couldn't figure her out, and that totally unpredictable move gave her all the power. They caved, let her rewrite the part, and she didn't just steal the show, she became the highest-paid star in Hollywood. Her seeming irrationality was actually her sharpest weapon.
And finally, there's the jujitsu strategy. This is when, instead of meeting aggression with more aggression, you just yield. You stay calm, you're patient, and you let your opponent make the first aggressive move. Then you use their own force, their own momentum, their own anger against them. They overextend, they lose their balance, and suddenly their greatest strength becomes their biggest weakness.
So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? Conflict is gonna happen. That's a given. But how you deal with it, that's totally up to you. You can be a soldier, just blindly charging ahead, reacting to whatever comes your way. Or you can become a strategist by mastering yourself, understanding others, and thinking creatively. You can turn life's battles into your greatest victories. The choice really is yours.